Alright, high school football fans, it's week 3 in the Sunshine State, and it's time for the FortHSFootball.com radio show here on FortHSFootball.com. How's it going? Good evening to everybody in the Sunshine State. We're just going to be an hour tonight, not the normal 2 hours. That's why we pushed back to a little after 9 o'clock starting. Some things going on, trying to get a few things figured out. Short week. Hate when we have 3-day holidays. But it is what it is. So yeah, that's what it is. So anyways, we've got a lot going on here. We'll do in the next hour. We're going to have the Riddell Player of the Week awards here. And then we're going to talk about some of the top 25 games here that we've got going on this week. 3 matchups involving top 25 teams this week, surprisingly, but that's a good thing here in the Sunshine State, and that's what we've got going on here, and a lot going on around the Sunshine State here as we get into things here, and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to get people in on knowing what's going on for Riddell Player of the Week here in just a few minutes here. Riddell Player of the Week, we've got our 8 winners for week 2. Go ahead and announce those here. And some pretty good selections. Some of them, you know what I'm going to have to say, this week, some of the selections were pretty much decided when we found out the stats. It was just like, it was when we heard about it Friday night, early Saturday morning, it was like automatic lock. It was, I mean, there was nothing you could have done to change my mind at least, in putting the Riddell Player of the Week awards together here. And I mean, it's really going to be fun, to be honest with you, looking at some of these, because some of these guys that are getting it this week, it's well deserved for their performances. We try to mix it up between offense and defense, because hey, that's what it's supposed to be about. It's not supposed to be about just offense. It's not supposed to be about just be defense. We want to get it around to all the guys we can in a way of who is performing what. So, actually, we're just going to go ahead and announce that we're going to coming up, our Riddell Sports. Oops, I was trying to figure out, you know, this is what we're doing on the thing, trying to get it actually tweeted out on social media right now. Trying to let everybody know to tune in right now, because and a lot going on, like I said, you know, with the thing with these Player of the Week awards. It really is, you know, something that, you know, we try to take a lot of pride into. But also, just quick before we really get into the awards, Marty Pallman will join me at 9:40, but first we'll have Kyle Skipper, the head coach at Pedro Menedez High School in St. Augustine. He'll join us to talk about that big win, because that was I will mark it down right now and tell y'all that was the biggest upset last week in any of the Sunshine State. Pedro Menedez, in their 18 try, finally gets win number 1 over the St. Augustine Yellow Jackets. And we talked to Will Brown Friday night back on the scoreboard show. We cannot remember exactly, you know, when. I mean, the last time, you know, they It's been a long time since the threat of St. Augustine having a threat of a running clock put on them, and at home. I mean, that was just literally the biggest upset here in the Sunshine State last week, and I'll tell you, this is really, really, really huge. Once we announced it and thing. We'll talk to Kyle Skipper about that, head coach at Pedro Menedez. But once we get through the Riddell Player of the Week awards here in just a moment, we'll post them up online after the show here on FortHSFootball.com for everybody to see and to enjoy and celebrate. We'll do this again every week during the season. Here on the show, we'll announce the awards here on the show first, then post up our article for the week announcing those players for each week. So again, a lot going on, so we're going to go through here and we're going to go ahead and start pulling up our Player of the Week awards, which has got it right here on this nice little handy document. It's sitting right here. That's the way it goes. How about this? Kareek Rackley. Let's start with Class 8A. Kareek Rackley, Miami Palmetto, quarterback, 18-26, 351 yards, 4 touchdowns, and their huge road win at Naples. The second year in the row that Miami Palmetto has gone to Naples and beaten the Golden Eagles. So that's huge for a Miami team actually go over to Naples and actually win that game, because usually it is not hard. It is not easy to win at Staver Field down in Naples. So that's a huge win for Miami Palmetto Friday night. Kareem Rackley, quarterback, Class 8A Player of the Week of our Riddell Player of the Week Sports Awards here. Class 7A, right into Southwest Florida. Running back Quantavious Brown of Riverdale rushed for over 200 yards, 4 touchdowns in their big rid over Palmetto Ridge, 35-7 win to be exact on that one. Quantavious Brown, he had a huge game, just totally went off. Some people had that game in question for Riverdale. They didn't think Riverdale would, they thought maybe Riverdale was going to compete, but maybe not win that game. But And the thing, what happened here, Quantavious Brown just totally went off that night, on Friday night, scored 4 of the team's 5 touchdowns. Huge win for Riverdale over Palmetto Ridge, 2-0. They're probably going to, at this point, you could say they're going to contend with South Fort Myers for District 12, 7A in Region 3. So that's what's going to happen. That's the thing. This next one, our Class 6A Player of the Week. Let me actually just take a swig of water here, because this one's going to take a couple seconds to really read out, because really, guys, this one's stunning. Once you hear this, some of y'all might have heard it already, might have seen it already, and you said, you would probably would have said, if we don't give him Player of the Week, we're probably crazy. We don't give him Riddell Player of the Week, you think we're crazy. So let me just take the swig of water real quick here. Okay, because here's this. Kelly Joyner, Southlake, Groveland, down in Groveland. How about this? He went off for 5 touchdowns in week 1. I believe that they were playing Kissimmee Liberty. So he's rushed for 5 touchdowns before he had a little injury, but apparently it wasn't too bad to keep him out for week 2. So what does Kelly Joyner Jr. do? Let's not talk about 5 touchdowns. Let's not talk about 6. Let's not talk about 7. The dang on dude went off for 8 touchdowns Friday night against Lake Minneola in a shootout. And that's a game that Southlake won. Southlake's 2-0. Start off the season. And he goes for 8 touchdowns, 372 yards. That was an automatic. He is Class 6A Player of the Week in the Riddell Player of the Week. There was no question about Kelly Joyner Jr. at Groveland Southlake winning the Class 6A Player of the Week in our Riddell Player of the Week awards. Just no way we could not have given it to any other player in 6A. I mean, just no apologies. According to Buddy Collins, this is only documented, the second documented game that in the modern era, 1950s on, that an athlete in the Sunshine State has gone off for 8 rushing touchdowns in a single game. In a single game. You just don't see that. 4 or 5, usually you hear about those games. But 8 touchdowns? That is just unbelievable. Like, really, really unbelievable. All right, going into our Class 5A Riddell Player of the Week, Ty Edwards. If I'm saying it right, it's Ty or Ty Edwards. And he's following on Twitter. He just followed on Twitter today, but he went off 6 total touchdowns, several rushing, 1 kick return. That thing documented. We were talking about Ty Edwards, Menendez High. Huge night. He is the big man that was responsible for leading Menendez to a 62-28 win over the St. Augustine Yellow Jackets. And that was that was another one that was just for sure he locked that award down for week 2. So huge award for Ty Edwards at Menendez. Linebacker Emily Amy is our Class 4A Riddell Player of the Week from University School out of Fort Lauderdale. Led the defense with 16 tackles and a big win over Immokalee. Also had a forced fumble and a pass deflection. That's huge right there, because Immokalee was coming off a 37-8 loss last week, and University School just inflicted the damage even more on Immokalee. So University School, and hey, we've got them ranked number 1 this week in our Class 4A rankings. So they've earned it. They have gotten 2 big wins the last 2 weeks. huge for University School. They're moving up the ranks right now. Our Class 3A Riddell Player of the Week, Jonathan Lewis from Delray Beach American Heritage, had 6 tackles, 2 interceptions in their big win over Holy Trinity. So a huge night for Jonathan Lewis, helping lead them to the win. I believe it was 35-14 over Holy Trinity for Delray Beach American Heritage in that game. So that's huge. Right receiver cornerback Grayson Wagner is our Class 2A Riddell Player of the Week from Foundation Academy out of Winter Garden. Had nearly 200 yards receiving, 1 touchdown, 2 pass breakups, and 2 tackles on defense in their win over Kingdom Prep. So they Foundation Academy off to a 2-0 start. Now we're up to our number 4 ranking in our Class 2A rankings. A huge night for a huge start for Foundation Academy. They were one of the teams that should have made the playoffs last year. Let's just put it that way. They should have made the playoffs last year, but they got a good quality team again this year under head coach Brad Lord. They're going to be definitely playoff quality. A playoff-worthy opponent this year. They're going to make it. I believe they are. That's going to be one of the 6 teams that will make it out of Region 2 this year, because they are definitely have started off the season strong. And then our Class 1A Riddell Player of the Week is Travis J. from Madison County. Accounted for 4 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 1 passing, and he didn't have to do much in order to get those touchdowns, but it was enough to inflict a serious damage and a big win over Newberry. I think that was final score was 54-7. So, again, we've got those Riddell Player of the Week awards. We'll go back over them just again real quick here. Quarterback Kareek Rackley from Miami Palmetto, our Class 8A Riddell Player of the Week. Our Class 7A Riddell Player of the Week is running back Quintavious Brown from Riverdale out of Fort Myers. Our Class 6A Riddell Player of the Week is running back Kelly Joyner Jr. of Southlake and Groveland. Our Class 5A Class 5A Riddell Player of the Week, I should say, is running back Ty Edwards from Menendez out of St. Augustine. Our Class 4A Riddell Player of the Week is linebacker Emily. I'm butchering it, but it's Emily. I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's Amy. I'm hoping I'm getting it right. Out of University School, out of Davie, he had a big week for the Sharks. Our Class 3A Riddell Player of the Week, defensive back Jonathan Lewis out of Delray Beach American Heritage. Our Class 2A Riddell Player of the Week, wide receiver cornerback Grayson Wagner out of Foundation Academy in Winter Garden. And our Class 1A Player of the Week, quarterback Travis J. out of Madison County. Let me think going on here. So, again, and if anybody just kind of listening to us right now, I apologize if anybody's trying to get forum access. I have got to get on there because we do have a moderated approval, and there's actually only me that's dealing with that right this second, and trying to make sure that all of our things are approved and everything. So we've got all that, but we'll get that all situated here during the break here. Coming up here, we've got Kyle Skipper, head coach at Pedro Menedez. He'll be joining us to talk about their big win, his school's big win over St. Augustine, and then we're going to have Marty Pallman join us here after 9:40 to talk just some high school football, and then we'll close it out a little after 10 o'clock here on the FortHSFootball.com radio show. So, again, a lot going on here around the Sunshine State. It's week 3. It's hard to believe. Hey, you know what's nice? I just thought about this. We're actually going to have a week 3 this year. Last year we did not have a week 3. We were going to have week 3, but then a storm named Hurricane Irma decided, we're going to upend things. We're going to board up our houses. We're going to have to deal with a hurricane and all that. And hey, at least we're not worrying about that this week. And hopefully we're not worrying about it at all this season. So that's what I'm hoping for. Anyways, we have got to take a break. When I come back, Kyle Skipper from Pedro Menedez High School in St. Augustine will join us here on the line. And then, Marty Pallman after 9:40. You're listening to the FortHSFootball.com radio show right here on FortHSFootball.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org. Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
All right, welcome back here to the FloridaHSFootball.com radio show. Week 3, as we mentioned, of the 2018 high school football season. A lot going on. It's hard to believe. Week 3, we're actually going to have like I said before I went on break, we're actually going to have a week 3 this year. No hurricane trying to knock on the door, thankfully. You know, as I said, knock on wood with the hurricanes. Hopefully we would not have to deal with any of that this year. That is definitely one of those things right there. But looking at a couple things, I actually just saw something pop up on my Twitter feed. Ponciana High School down in Kissimmee has been chosen to receive the $10,000 Riddell Smarter Football Grant Congratulations to Ponciana for that. That just came across on my feed right now, actually, not too long ago. So huge for a school that actually, needs one of those motivational boosters and to help their program, and that definitely will go a long way to help their program. So congratulations to Ponciana. But getting to our guest tonight here on the radio show, we've got. I mean, it's been the talk around the state for the last few days now. I mean, it's Wednesday, so yeah, going from Friday night since the final score was reported. Probably actually before the final score was reported. Pedro Menedez. I mean, they finally broke through. They broke the glass ceiling, and it's my pleasure to welcome on head coach Kyle Skipper, first-year head coach at Pedro Menedez, but a longtime assistant with the program as well. But Coach, first welcome aboard. I'm excited to talk about this because it definitely turned a lot of heads in the state last week. What y'all did?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on. Glad to talk about the program. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, it's huge for y'all in a way because everybody, when people talk about the rivalry, it's like, well, is it really a rivalry? But y'all turned that on the upside down this year and said, wait a second, we're not gonna be like the 17th, 18th victim of this rivalry. We're gonna make a statement. Y'all came out and made a statement Friday night. And when people saw that score, I mean, I guess my first question at this particular point for you is that what was when you finally got to your cell phone, what was it like for everybody when they realized that y'all had beaten St. Augustine for the first time in school history?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I looked down at my phone right after the game, and we were still on the field celebrating. At that point, I already had 65 text messages. And just the amount of support that poured in and the excitement in our community and within our school of people reaching out to us, congratulating us was awesome. And like you said, we didn't want to be the 18th victim of this rivalry game, but our kids had that mindset all week long. They were calm, cool, and collected, and they kept telling me, hey, Coach, we're ready. We got this. And it really had a different feel this year. I think our kids were confident in the senior leadership and didn't really work this game up bigger than it really is.
What finally just? I guess I have to say, what finally caused the light bulb to finally just go off on your players? After looking at the series record and realizing it was like. So I can't even, the numbers are slipping my mind right this second, but it was like 700 to 70 points. It was a wide margin. I mean, if you sit there and go look at it, and everybody's like, well, what finally made them realize, hey, this is it. This is our year.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it shocked a lot of people, but I can't honestly tell you it shocked us. Yeah, maybe I didn't expect 62 points, but we went in there with full intentions to get our 40. That's our goal every single week. We're going in there and trying to score as many points as we can. Our kids play with a mindset. Our mantra last year was don't blink on offense. We try to play fast and put up points, and we kind of live by that. But heading into the end of last season, down the stretch, we scored right at 40-something points a game and played some big-time programs. We were 28-28 going into the fourth quarter with Baker in the second round last year. Got the first ever playoff win under Coach Turner last year in school history. And I really think that playoff win set the stage for what happened on Friday night. Our kids kind of got a different edge coming off of last season. They knew that they could go out and compete with some of the top programs, and they were no longer, that team from down south. But Menendez, as a name, started to kind of grow.
I mean, at that particular point, I mean, what has it been now since that particular, from Friday night from the win until now? I mean, what has it been like, considering that? Hey, wait a second, y'all are not just the other team from down south. Y'all are just as much as part of the St. Augustine area as St. Augustine is themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see the growth of that. Like I told you, I've had countless people reaching out to us. We've been on story after story. And, it's huge for our community. Within our community, we serve a lot of areas. We actually have the largest landmass district within St. Johns County. So we have kind of a diverse student body of kids from all different backgrounds. And we serve a large base of people. And it's cool to see people from, Elkton to Hastings to the beach all the way around embracing the team and kind of coming together under that name Menendez.
Right, and that's the thing, and of course, again, I was going to mention that about the white area because y'all do all the way have you pretty much have the south end of St. Johns County. That's y'all right there, and that's a thing. How do you? I guess in the progression of this, how do you get the guys ready for their next game, which is usually this Friday night? How do you get ready for them in this process of can't let that win hang over y'all? We got to play football.
Yeah, it's kind of taking care of itself. Our goal coming into this year wasn't to beat St. Augustine. St. Augustine was step 2 of 10, and that's what we preached all week long. We preached, hey, this is step 2 of 10 on the climb. We weren't going to be defined by the St. Augustine game. Again, we fully expected to go in and take care of business, and we're glad we did. But our goal is to win the school's first ever district title. A lot of cool things are happening. Yeah, we got the first ever win over St. Augustine. Everybody's surprised that it was us that beat them and not Bartram or whatever in the county. But, we did. We secured that first win against St. Augustine. That's a great moment. But now our eyes are set on staying on track against Yulee this week. They have a good running back, and they're very well coached, and we're going to be, up against it on Friday night, ready to live up to that hype. But then we're turning our attention to our district schedule, where we start to run into the Baker and Clays and Ridgeviews, and Orange Park had a great win on Friday night. So we're ready to turn our attention to that and win the school's first ever district title.
That's the thing, and let's talk about what to Ty Edwards. I really think he's probably your most special player you've got sitting on that field, especially the way he went off Friday night, 6 total touchdowns, and we did give him the 5A Riddell Player of the Week award this week, so he definitely earned it right off the out of the gate. That's with that the 6 touchdowns. Talk about just how just because he dominated that game Friday night, and I know that you're relying on him pretty heavily in these games, and
right.
That's something special right there in him.
Yeah, he is special. Him and Kenny Logan are both extremely special kids. I was actually very surprised last week. I know the other kid definitely deserved it, that Kenny didn't win 5A Player of the Week in week 1. Week 1 Kenny had I think 4 touchdowns, 3 on the ground, 1 receiving touchdown. He had 2 interceptions week 1 from the safety position. So, between Ty and Kenny, I have 2 very gifted athletes. I'm lucky that both of them are really good running backs, so I'm able to kind of bounce both of them in between the game. Like you said, Ty went off last week, 6 total touchdowns. The kickoff return in the second half really kind of broke the game through. At that point, St. Augustine had just tied it up 28-28. They kicked it to Ty, and he took it back, probably broke 10 tackles on the way to the house.
That's that. And I saw that video from Will Brown, and I was just like, whoa. It's like, wait a second, how did he get through the barrage of tackles? Because that was like, wait a second, he should have gone down. And there he is running for the thing. Were you actually kind of surprised when he just managed to break through all those tackles, or was it just like, okay, this is just another day at the ballpark at that point?
That's another day at the ballpark for Ty and Kenny. I was actually more surprised that they kicked the ball to either one of them. They're both extremely great athletes, and when you give them space in the return game, they can be dangerous.
And that definitely will be something that y'all will need in those district games. And to go back to mentioning of the district, you mentioned that district. You got the Clays, you got the Bakers. You got the state runner-up from last year is sitting right there in your own district. So it's like, I guess what did you do in going in preparation during the off season to prepare for this, knowing that that the entire district could be really really solid, that because I know there is a potential that here in District 5 in Class 5A y'all could potentially take 3 or 4 teams into the playoffs the way the way it looks.
Yeah, if you look up and down our schedule, man, that's how we prepare. Like I told you, that playoff win last year was huge. Going into the fourth quarter against Baker last year, tied up with the eventual state runner-up, was huge from our growth as a program. But going into the off season, we use the 7-on-7, and we get out and we compete in the 7-on-7 league. And it gives us a chance as a team to go out and compete and put kids in uncomfortable situations, let them grow. And then we go to camp every year at Jacksonville University. Coach Turner kind of started that, and I've continued to do it because I think it's a great camp. This year we spent the better part of 3 days competing with Vieira and Mainland. And anytime you can spend time scrimmaging with those guys, we went up against Atlantic Coast there as well. Just really fine-tuning your craft, competing with elite programs. It's going to make you better, and it gets you better for your schedule. We played in the referee scrimmage against Lee. Lee is obviously an outstanding program. So kind of getting those first live shots against Lee was big time, and getting our kids out and running around and letting them kind of get a feel for the game. That was King Benford's first ever start. So that was, all that kind of builds into what we were able to do on Friday night, just the preparation of the off season and putting your kids out there against elite competition so that when we run into this stretch of Ponte Vedra, Yulee, at Baker County, at Ponte Vedra, at home against Clay, then you're prepared for that kind of gauntlet of a schedule.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, and that's what and the thing, and this is it's funny. I remember some of these conversations I had a couple of other people in the last week or two, and especially like the fact that, hey, this year is probably y'all's year. I mean, but I don't want to jinx anything, but it's really to me it's like it's something special that we can't ignore, and the whole process of what y'all have done has just been incredible, and. Looking at it, at this particular point, it's for y'all, again, you mentioned it's a step by step. It's a step. Each week's a step, and I think that's incredible. And I guess a thing. And now, is there? I guess after the goal of winning a district championship, what is the next goal? When the school's second playoff game, I guess, is that the next step, or is there a step above that?
Our kids have. It's an extremely talented team with some great leadership. Our goal is to win this district title, and obviously we want to win more playoff games for our school. But I think we're excited about taking it week by week, game by game, getting better based on what every opponent gives us, the opportunity to grow week by week and kind of get to the top of that mountain that we're talking about, that 10-step season. If we're able to do what we say we're going to do and take it week by week and grow each game, then we're looking forward to hopefully having the opportunity to play the school's first ever home playoff game and maybe even play a few home playoff games.
That would definitely be fun for y'all, and I believe that for y'all, let me just double check here real quick here, and y'all are home this week. So that is
yes,
that is a thing. So Pedro Menedez hosting Yulee Friday night, 7:00. At Menendez High School, State Road 206 in St. Augustine. Hey, you could not miss it between US 1 and I-95. That if you want to go see some good football, go to Menendez. That's where they've got it right now, ranked number 10 now in our Class 5A rankings going into Week 3. So, Coach, I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your busy schedule. I definitely wish you all the best of luck for the rest of the season. Again, hats off to Ty Edwards for Class 5A Player of the Week and our Riddell Player of the Week awards.
Yep, thanks for having me on, and we look forward to talking to you later on this season.
Definitely. Appreciate it a bunch, Coach. Have a good night.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right. That was head coach Kyle Skipper from the Pedro Menedez Falcons joining us here on the FortHSFootball.com radio show. And, again, appreciate him joining us here. A lot going on for the program. A lot of people have considered Menendez to be the redheaded stepchild in St. Augustine. Not so much anymore. They're on equal footing, in my opinion, now with St. Augustine right this second. Yeah, the record might not show it in the serious records when you look at it between St. Augustine and Menendez, but it's 1-17. It's no longer the goose egg. 1-17. It's now a 1-win series streak for Menendez, and that's huge for them. It's incredible. And I love when underdogs can win. And they have been an underdog for 17 years, and now this year, here they are. They win it. And I love the fact that step by step. That's just incredible. All right. We're going to take a break. We're going to get Marty Pallman on the line, and we're going to talk some football. Marty's been kind of busy, but we're going to do the phone thing, Hey, that's how it works. Love technology in a way. but a lot going on here in the Sunshine State. It's week 3. Man, it's one of those things. Great football. We're going to talk some football, more football, talk about what's coming up in week 3, generalize look at the top 25 games, look at some of the Joe Pinko's forecast. There was one game forecast calling for a team to win by 84 points. We'll look at all that. We'll be right back here in about 4 minutes here on the FortHSFootball.com radio show.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with, from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org. Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with, from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
All right, welcome back here to the FortHSFootball.com radio show. Josh Wilson here, coming to you live. I know it's only 1 hour this week, but next week we'll be back, hopefully to the full 2 hours. Just few things different going on, but hey, business as usual. We're taking care of things. Got a lot of stuff going on, but anyways, it's week 3. We're actually going to have a week 3 this week. Unlike last year, as I mentioned, and I'm going to bring Marty Pallman on. Marty Pallman is joining us from the road. He's out taking care of a couple of things, but we'll hopefully get him back in the groove of things next week. But Marty, hey, we're actually going to have a week 3 this week instead of like last year where we did have a week 3.
Right, Josh, and I look forward to being back at the studio. And this week, joining you from the road. Doing some business here, but I mean, like a year ago, last year at this time, we were all sitting here preparing. I mean, we were because Orlando was barreling towards Florida, and we didn't have any games. Well, that's not true. There were games played last year. There were games played. It
was at the Panhandle. There was a couple played out or played right before, but otherwise, most of week 3, we really didn't have much of a week 3 last year. I mean, that's a.
There were some games. Actually, there were games in Ocala that week. I did a game. It was Thursday night, and then
Friday night,
and then there was Jacksonville. There weren't games on Friday. But to be honest with you, if you remember last year, week 4 was even less. I mean, there were a lot of games canceled for week 4 after the storm. But you're right. Week 3, either games are moved up or hardly any games were played on Friday night. So but it was a different thing last year. We're not going to have that story this year as we come on the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Irma, which will be coming up this Sunday and Monday because it hit the southern part of the state starting September 10th last year, and then hit kind of the northern part. So it's gonna. We'll have games Friday night. Hopefully, again, there might be weather in some of the areas of the state, but we're not going to have any other issues that we know of.
And I'll say this. Last week, Mother Nature was actually not a problem last week.
Right, and before I go on, we do hope that everyone in the Panhandle is doing well because I know that Pensacola, Mobile area got hit pretty hard with rain from Tropical Storm Gordon. Never made it to a hurricane. It dumped a lot of rain in that area over there, so everybody's doing all right, getting back to normal. But you're right, last week, Josh, was a pretty good week. I don't know, I think there was a delay in our area in Williston for a while for lightning, and that was it. It was pretty much we had good weather in Jacksonville for my game last week at Bishop Kenny. No problems, and we hope that continues this week, although, it's Florida. We will never really know with afternoon and evening thunderstorms.
Yeah, definitely, indeed, and let's take a look at some of the thing. I know you have not totally gotten to look at everything because I know you have been busy, but I'm going to go through some of our our picks this week, which we got several top 25 games this week. Number 6 Columbus versus number 1 Miami Carroll City. That is actually all these games I do believe are actually going to Friday games. So this is huge right here. Columbus versus Miami Carroll City. And Miami Carroll City holding the number 1 ranking right now overall in the top 25. Columbus at number 6. They moved up after beating Miami Northwestern Friday night, and they're holding the top spot in Class 8A as well. So battle between the number 1 team in 8A, number 1 team in 6A. That's huge. So that's going to be a big showdown, and that's at Travis Powell on Friday night. So that's again a huge game.
Right, Columbus beating Northwestern last week. You said it. Now they only get Carroll City. It doesn't get any easier for them. So, welcome to South Florida. Welcome to Miami-Dade County, where every week a ranked team's playing a ranked team, it seems. And that's no different this week. So I'm going to jump off here real quick. I'll be right back with you in just a moment.
All right, yeah, Marty Pallman needs dealing with a couple of things, so he had to jump out the thing. But, again, some of our other big games, I'll mention them again. Number 9, Lakeland at number 19, Apopka. Number 15, Miami Northwestern versus number 13, South Dade. Number 8, American Heritage Plantation at Miramar. Number 22, Delray Beach Atlantic at Pahokee. Number 3, Miami Central at St. John's College up in Washington, D.C. Armwood versus number 11, Plant. Number 5, Columbia at Buchholz. Baldwin at Dixie County. Navarre at Crestview. Navarre at Crestview, that's going to be the biggest game in the Panhandle this week. And, Joe Pinko's, we're looking at the thing. Joe Pinko's, as we look at some of the rankings here, we've got some interesting things with those rankings. But Atlantic is a 17-point favorite over Pahokee, and that's the big thing. And looking at those thing, Atlantic 17-point favorite over 1A Pahokee. I think that's going to be a really good game. When I look at Pahokee, I don't think of them as a 1A team. I think of them as like a 3A, 4A program. But they're a 1A program in technical rights, being in the world classification. But Atlantic and Pahokee, that's going to be a matchup. Pahokee can play with anyone, any week. You go look at who they played already. They don't play a 1A team until they get to the playoffs. They don't see a 1A team. This will be their second year in a row. They will not see a Class 1A team until the playoffs. So, Pahokee is going to win these games that they need to. They're going to be competitive in these games against the 8As and the 7As of Palm Beach County. And Atlantic, they're going to be... Atlantic's a favorite, but I would take that 1 off that 17 and just make it 7. That's probably what it's going to be. It's going to be a touchdown. That's going to be a big game right there. But a couple other, looking at some of these other games, Baldwin is actually favored against Dixie County by 7 points. So that's I'm a little surprised by, but that's going to be a really, really good showdown there in that particular game. Looking at some of these other games here, Carroll City and Columbus. Carroll City is actually a 17-point favorite over Columbus. Northwestern was a favorite over Columbus last week, and that's the big thing is that some of these things are with Joe Pingo's, they can go totally opposite of what the forecast says, we'll bring Marty Pallman back in here. Marty, I was just going through the rest of the games here, and we've got number 9 Lakeland at number 19 Apopka, and number 15 Miami Northwestern versus number 13 South Day, number 8 Plantation American Heritage at Miramar, number 22 Atlantic Delray Beach Atlantic at Pahokee, number 3 Miami Central at St. John's College DC, which are up in Washington DC. Armwood at number 11 at Plant, number 5 Columbia at Buchholz, Baldwin at Dixie County, Navarre at Crestview.
Yeah, big week 3, and again we're seeing this with the team scheduling up due to the the fact that they're trying to get points and scheduling points. So another big weekend. I love it out in South Florida. Northwestern plays Columbus last week, South Day this week. Columbus has Northwestern and Carroll City. It's like Carroll City's already played Booker T. It's just our Central played Booker T. Washington.
Right.
Carroll City. It's like it's always something in South Florida. It seems like. You mentioned up in this place. Go ahead.
Oh yes, no, it's that way every week. It's always a battle of powerhouse teams every week in South Florida. I don't care if you put it week 1 or week 11. It's every week on the schedule down there. You're gonna find several battles against top ranked teams down there, and that's just the way it is. That's Miami-Dade and Broward County football for you. Even Palm Beach County, it's the Tri-County area football for you. That's just the way it works down there.
And up this way, the game you mentioned, Columbia Buchholz, and Buchholz is coming off a loss to Vanguard, and now they just have to turn around and play Columbia, who's rolled past Gainesville and Swanee in their first 2 games. And Columbia has the look of a team that might be a state contender really this year. I know it's 7A, it's tough. We've seen Columbia there before, but from right now, we only got to see them for a quarter against Gainesville for the game in postponed week 1, played the following week in Lake City. But, Columbia's a team that I think has the look of one of those teams, and they still have games against Buchholz, and we mentioned, and then they'll have to play Lehigh School in their district. But they also have Madison County. Columbia plays a crazy schedule.
They got bowls later on in the year, too, I think, at the end of the season.
And then speaking of matchups, intersectional bowls travels to Rockledge this week. So that's going to be a tough match for bowls having to travel.
And that was going to be one I was going to put on the thing, but I was trying to mix up our pick'ems for this week on our media picks to spread it out across the state. But Bowls at Rockledge is definitely going to be a top game. That's a battle of top 10 teams in Class 5A right out the gate, and that's a huge game right there. It's one of those games that. It could go either way, and I think, and Rockledge is coming off pretty good, and, usually, you say, hey, you're traveling, that's a 3-hour road trip for them at least. So, it's good luck to the Bulldogs going down there with Wayne Belger and his team.
Well, Bulls does this. They've traveled to South Florida. Last year they traveled down to near Lakeland area. I think they played down at, the name escapes me now, down in Central Florida. But they played down there before near Lakeland. And, yeah, Bulls will travel. They'll play anyone pretty much.
I know the team. I know the team you're talking about, Ridge Community, and they're going to play them at home this year. They're going to play them at home this year, so they're going to get Ridge Community home later on in the season. But Rockledge, let me bring up Rockledge for a moment. Wayne Younger's really done an incredible job at Rockledge, and I'm telling you, that's going to be a tough game for Bulls. It's not going to be a cakewalk, and last week they certainly didn't have a cakewalk over New Hampstead out of Georgia. So I mean, Bulls is going to get tested. Bulls is willing to get tested. This is a great game for them to see where is Bulls going to stack, because what is next week, Marty? For week 4, what's the big game in Jacksonville? We all know this.
It's Bulls and Trinity Christian next week. That's right.
Yes, and they were the only game to play week 4 last year in the Jacksonville area.
That's right. They played on Friday night in Jacksonville. That's right, and they actually did play that game, and it was a classic game. And of course, Trinity Christian won the game, but had to forfeit because of ineligible players. So
they get the draw in the first round of the playoffs last year, and that was a dandy too.
Right, and of course, the postseason game ended up both Bulls and Trinity made the playoffs. Trinity ended up being the district winner because they had more points, and they hosted Bulls again. And Bulls had a chance to win that game in OT, missed a field goal, lost to Trinity. So right, we got that going next week, and I think that's going to be as big a game as it normally is. Both teams, Bulls will see if they can beat Rockledge and stay undefeated. But, that's at 5A District 4. Ponte Vedra is 2-0, has to go to St. Augustine this week. I don't think Bishop Kenny is going to be, they're 0-2, not off to a great start. So I think you're looking at 3 teams maybe if they can get out of that district this year again. Ponte Vedra's got to keep winning. Of course, that's what happened last year with 3 teams making it from that district in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the Joe Pinko's point forecast, and on some of these games, North Washington's only a 5-point favorite over South Dade. Carroll City's a 17-point favorite over Columbus, and looking at a couple of the other ones here, Navarre's a 17-point underdog to Crestview, which shocked a lot of people because I've got Navarre ranked higher than Crestview in the rankings.
Right.
And we'll have to see. I mean, right now, just 2 weeks in, Joe Pincos is just slightly under 80% correct on his games. He's season 78.7%. He's 80.1%. He was 80.1% correct last week, but 78.7% this season so far, just 2 weeks in. But see, usually by the time we get to the end of the season with Joe, he's usually 84% right. I mean, last year he was 82.3% on his game. So Joe usually never fails us when it comes to looking at his forecast.
Yeah, no, and he's under 80% as a surprise at 78, but I'm sure he'll get it straightened out. His postseason numbers are even better usually.
Yeah,
so
his postseason number last year was 82.6%, and he was 87.5% right on the state championship games last year. So it's it's great. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm looking at some of these numbers. We've got one forecast with an 84 point favorite, 84 points this week.
Who?
Baker over Joshua Christian out of Jacksonville. 84 points.
Wow. Well, last week, Union County was favored by 78 against Merritt Island Christian. They only won by 40, I think. So,
yeah. I'm looking at IMG Academy, 56-point favorite over Liberty, Nevada, and Liberty, Nevada is actually a pretty doggone good team most years. So but see, there's a difference between Florida football and Nevada football, and we all know it. Even for IMG Academy, I mean, if you love them or hate them, you know that there's a difference when it comes to high school football in the Sunshine State, where, hey, you can pretty much pick up a football 12 months out of the year and do things. So it's just,
right. That's true.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
yeah, right. And I mean, looking at some of the things now, yeah, one surprise last week. I was looking at some of those results from last week is that North Florida Christian failed the Zephyr Hills Christian. That was a shocker. And that not knocked North Florida Christian out of the rankings. Cause
Zephyr Hills Christian pretty good, but yeah, that's a big win to beat North Florida Christian like that.
Right, and that was a big win right there. I mean, Florida High literally blew by Blountstown. That was a big one because Blountstown had won that game last year, and Florida High just literally is flexing a muscle. And to be honest with you, now they don't have to deal with Oxbridge Academy this year. Florida High, they don't make the state championship game in Class 3A. I would be absolutely shocked. And Florida High has knocked on that door so many times over the years between Mike Hickman and now Jared Hickman as the head coaches, between both of them. If Florida High does not make it this year, I would be shocked. I mean, and you know, there's one team that I think that is rising up on the surprises, and we have them on the pick'ems this week. Baldwin's surprising a few people, and they would have been playing
last week. Now that's a big win. I'm going to jump off. I'll be right back.
All right, yeah, definitely indeed. But I mean, Baldwin. Let's talk about Baldwin for a second because Baldwin was one of these teams that should have made the playoffs last year. If it weren't for Newberry having beaten Trenton last year, which gave them Category 1 points, Baldwin would have been in. This year, Baldwin would make it in. And I just really, really believe that Baldwin will actually get it into the playoffs. I mean, they beat Dixie County. Dixie County is going to be a Cat 1, Cat 2 team this year. I mean, that's just what I'm looking at. I mean, what Eric Richardson's done at Dixie County has been tremendous. But if Baldwin beats Dixie County Friday night, that's going to go a long way to potentially securing a 1 or 2 seed, get them a first-round bye, and then they host a playoff game in the regional semifinals. That'll be huge for them. I mean, looking at some of these other teams going on, again, go back to Zephyr Hills Christian for a moment. Zephyr Hills Christian really, really had a big game, and, but they just had a big game against North Florida Christian last week. It was really huge for them. I mean, Zephyr Hills Christian is turning some heads, like Menendez has turned some heads. I mean, we're ranking teams now that I never thought we would be potentially ranking at this particular point, but we are, and that is huge in the way that's saying that, some teams are making some impacts, and we're having these cycles. And football, it does come in cycles for a lot of programs. I mean, some programs are able to keep the pace year in, year out, like St. Thomas Aquinas and the Venices and the Manatees and all of them. Downstate, anything. I mean, even the Cocos. I mean, it's just, those are the kind of programs that keep it going year in and year out. I mean, speaking of Coco, last week, that was a close. They had that game locked in hand pretty much, and then they right at the end, Treasure Coast just scored the last touchdown, and they won the game. And those are one of those games that, hey, we considered Treasure Coast for the rankings. It's very hard in looking at the thing, because the way I look at the rankings is this. I ranked a top 5 in each of the regions. Then I do a top 10. And that's in the higher classes. So it's hard when you're trying to rank teams and you're trying to move teams and flex them in and out. I mean, it's very hard. And Treasure Coast was in consideration. It's just hard when I'm putting 10 teams on the rankings and then 5 honorable mentions. And Treasure Coast really stood out. But DeLand, let's talk about DeLand. DeLand really has stood out the last 2 weeks. First knocking Mainland off, which we had ranked in the top 10 and 6A at the start of the season. Now Mainland's not even cracking honorable mention right this second. Mainland's 0-2. Then they go and beat Sanford Seminole, which we had ranked in the top 10 last week. Here goes Sanford Seminole out of the rankings in Class 8A. DeLand's honorable mention. We're not ready just to put DeLand in the top 10 yet, but they are in the honorable mentions now. You've beaten 2 top 10 teams the past 2 weeks. That's huge. DeLand's caught our attention. And that District 1 in Class 8A, that's not a 2. It's not a 1-dog race. It's not a 2-dog race. It's not a 3-dog race. It's a 4-dog race. Why do I say it's a 4-dog race? 1, Spruce Creek's down. Deltona literally thrashed them last week. Spruce Creek, to me, is not making the playoffs this year. They're going to be pushing it to try to make it in. It is a 4-dog race in that district. It is down. It's Flagler Palm Coast, DeLand, Sandalwood, and Mandarin. And if you don't believe me that Mandarin ain't going to compete in that district, go look at who they played on last Friday night. Look at the score. 47-44 overtime. It was a loss to Godby. Don't get me wrong. But the fact that they took Godby right down to the wire into overtime, Mandarin is going to contend in that district. There is going to be a lot in that district. I mean, it is really at that particular point. That's a district that, and you know what? Just looking at it, they all four of those teams get the points they need. They could be in the playoffs. I mean, that's huge. That would be huge for them to go and get into the playoffs like that. By the way, I do want to mention something here. Seeing some of the tweets right now. I did watch the video. I watched the video. I probably should have gone to the meeting today at the Athletic Directors Advisory Committee. But I've got some things going on. I had some personal things to deal with. But I'm going to hear a lot about this. I've heard a lot of this about with the FHA playoff proposal in other sports. Football's not included. But I'm watching this closely. Because that whole proposal, there is still a lot to be talked about. And I'm telling you now, in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, we've got the first FHA board meeting of the year. It's going to be discussed. That's going to be a lot of topic discussion right there. They had a lot of topic discussion at the Athletic Directors Advisory Committee today. They went like 3 hours on that. They're going to talk about this whole thing with the playoff proposal that they've got for the classification proposal for the other major team sports. Football's not included. Football's had its change. Football's being left alone. Just except that I'm going to sit down and I'm going to beg for them to, hey, reduce football by one class. Cut it down to 7. Have 6 classes plus your rural. Have a nice day with it. I'm watching these other sports because they're going a whole different route. Using the max preps rankings, doing all that. It really, to me, I see what they want to do, but then there's the side of me that's saying, okay, what could go wrong? We can see what goes right, but we also wonder what goes wrong in some of that stuff. Why I bring this up, it's because it's there's a trickle down effect, I think, in all this with that proposal for the other team sports with the classification proposal. It really, to me, is something that we can and I think if we get Marty back on here in just a moment here, so okay, let me go ahead and bring you on here, Marty. Okay, there we go. And I was talking about the classification proposal with the other sports. I brought it up because I know football's not included in this, and because football's had its changes and all that. But with all of this, I'm watching it closely still because I feel like whatever happens in with those sports, something will trickle down into football. Way, somehow, football will still see a trickle effect somewhere, and really, I have to give the FHA major props for what they have done the last 3 years, going through starting with football first, now looking at the other team sports, and trying to be open as possible. I think the FHA right now is much more of an open organization than they were 5 years ago. Even back in 2010, I don't think they were as open as what they are now. The culture has changed. The culture has changed inside that building on Northwest 80th Boulevard here in Gainesville. There's thing, and I really get to give them kudos for being more open. Yeah, people still don't agree with everything they do. No one is ever going to agree with everything they do that comes out of that building. Let's just put it that way. Not even myself. We all have disagreements. But
I think you're right. I think they've had to be open like they're being because of what they're trying to do. Like they are trying to change, and there really are a lot of changes. I mean, we've seen in the past now over a year, 18, going on 2 years now, with the football playoff changes that started last season, going on for the last year and a half. We've seen that come into effect, and now we're seeing this whole, the new classification system, which again does not affect football. But they're trying to kind of go away from the district tournaments for the districts. And the meeting was open and online today, and you watched it. I watched it. Our friend Doug Pugh watched the whole thing, I think. But they are making themselves accountable, and of course, that opens yourself up for people are going to disagree, and you saw that today. But it's a good discussion to have, and I don't know where this proposal is going to go. I don't know if it's going to pass or not. But we heard today from a lot of athletic directors at the athletic director meeting, the AD meeting today, who have concerns, and the FHSAA by bringing them in, and by also having to be public knowledge and the public needs to watch, is also getting everyone involved, like you and I, the media, the fans, the state of Florida. And it's what they have to do because, you're going to have to, if this passes, you're going to have to sell it. And that's what the FHSAA is trying to do, along with all the crew there, Justin Harrison, who was running the meeting today. Yeah, it's a very open and accountable kind of forum and what's going on right now.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, again, it's just it's an open forum. I mean, they got the first board of directors meeting coming up here in less than 2 weeks, and then they got that one. Then you got the one towards the end of October. I mean, it's you've got you got several board of directors meetings here. I mean, let me just go back and pull up real quick here what Kyle Niblett had sent on the schedule here because it is on that thing. Okay, so the board of directors meeting. September 24th, which is the Monday. It's the journal board meeting. They're saying discussion. October 29th, which is a Monday as well. Next board of directors meeting, the second one of the year. Possible vote. So that right there, and I feel like they need to. I still feel like, in my opinion, they need to do something with football. Just make one tweak, reduce the number of classes from 8 to 7. You bring it in line with everybody else with the other sports you're doing. You don't apply football to the whole max preps rankings or whatever they're going to do. But you take football and you bring it in a line with the number of classes. You divide it up evenly in 6 classes. You take the rural teams out, place them in the 1A rural, and you've got it set. I think that's what they've got to do, and I think, I'm going to have to sit down and write my email to the board of directors members, to several of them, and to Frank Beasley, put it out there and do that. I think that's the way I'm going to have to do this, and say, hey, look, if you just make this one simple change, put it on there, you've got it set, and then at that point, now you can divide the classifications up evenly. Now you've got the teams balanced a little bit better in enrollment numbers in those classifications, because, and to be honest with you, enrollment has to be applied in football. You cannot take the enrollment factor out of football, because football is a whole different animal. Football has to be applied by its own set of rules. I mean, that's one thing that the FHA has done for many years, is that all the sports, you apply the same model. You can't apply the same model to all these sports. You have to you have to dissect them. You have to take and removing football and putting its own thing and leaving it alone. That's the right start. Now, taking the other team sports you're looking at, 7 other sports, I get it, what they're trying to do, and really and having the sports be placed in different divisions depending on how good you are. I get it. That makes sense.
I mean, all right, John. I gotta go. So.
Yeah, definitely. I know you got to run here, but Marty, it's been good. I know I'm going to end the show here in a couple minutes, but it's been good. It's a thing, but say you'll be on the call on 92.5 in Jacksonville for Friday night for Bishop Kenny. Where's Bishop Kenny at?
They're home against Nice.
Yeah, definitely.
This week. So. All right.
So, well, Marty, you have a good one. Take it easy. Have a good one. All right, that was Marty Pallman joining us here on the FortHSFootball.com radio show. He had to hop and run, but he's been very busy. A lot going on around the Sunshine State, but again, we got a lot going on here. But hey, it's been fun. But we'll be back to 2 hours hopefully next week here on the FortHSFootball.com radio show. But again, if you want to check out, we'll post some polls on our games here, and then for this week that we got on our pick'ems, a lot going on. But hey. It's week 3. We're actually going to have week 3 football here in the Sunshine State. It's been fun. It's going to be fun. even more fun up ahead. And I'm telling y'all, it's great to have football this week. All right, we've got a lot going on. It's week 3 here in the Sunshine State. Visit FloydHSFootball.com. We'll be back on Friday night for the FloydHSFootball.com scoreboard. Friday night scoreboard, 10 until midnight, right here on FloydHSFootball.com. Y'all can also check out our scoreboards, FloydHSFootball.com/scoreboards during Friday nights to get all your scores powered by ScoreStream. So we'll be here, and we'll actually have scores tomorrow night. Some games. Actually, let me take a look at real quick here for tomorrow night, real quick as we get ready to sign off here. Take a look at tomorrow night real quick here as we get things. There's going to be a few games. There's always a few Thursday night games, but not too many. See if we can get them up here real quick here. Yeah, not too many games. A couple of JV games, but not too many big games. East Ridge, Redondo Union. That's the big game. Miami Edison, Miami Norland. Yeah, a couple other games, but not too many big games tomorrow night. But everything Friday night, so we'll definitely have a lot of those going on. But anyways, guys, have a good night and best of luck to your team in week 3 here in the Sunshine State. This has been a production of FloydHSFootball.com. Copyright 2018, Florida HS Football LLC. All rights reserved.